Story 1. My brother is 31 years old. In his time on Earth, he has not had to lift a finger to keep any of his needs met. He dropped out of college after less than half a semester because he could not bother rolling out of bed before noon to take the car our parents got him to class. He's worked a combination of 2.5 months in his entire life. He lost his first job at a Dairy Queen because he swore at a mother over the drive-through speakers, and lost his second because he got caught stealing from the till of a family-owned restaurant. He has spent the last 8 years rolling out of bed at 2 p.m. to do nothing but play video games and troll Discord servers to find someone just as pathetic as him to hang out with. It does not help that he's an annoying, violent, self-centered brat who would push my parents in front of a bus for the thrill of the dopamine hit. My parents always tried their best with us. They gave us everything we ever needed in life and then some. They have always been more than understanding to all of their children. For me and my 2 siblings who are worth something, it led to incredible performances in academia, well-paying jobs, and an amazing start to our adult lives. I wish I could commend them for the 75% success rate, but they have allowed the man baby to sit in his cradle and make demands for 31 years too long. And now they find themselves with an overgrown toddler who sits in the attic playing Valorant all day while cursing my mom out when she dares to ask him to clean up the rotting garbage he spreads across his room. Last year, Dad had a stroke. He is now at a point where he needs 24-hour care from a professional. My mother is burned out. She retired when Dad had the stroke to take care of him, and it's done more damage to their relationship than 33 years of marriage could ever do. It does not help that they are perpetually harassed by the child demanding his dinner be delivered to him while he screams at teenagers over the internet. Me, all my human siblings, and my parents have been talking for months now about solutions. At the beginning of the month, we decided Dad is going to a care center. Mom will sell the house to move to a 55+ community close to Dad, and the man baby will hopefully find a box with an internet connection. Mom and Dad have always protected him, but my guess is the stroke finally woke them up to the reality of the situation. Yeah, it sucks, and they are to blame for allowing him to get to this point. But there comes a time to cut your losses and admit you messed up and move on. It's a shame all of the man baby's siblings, including myself, hate his guts. None of us care what happens to him, and it's interesting to say that out loud now that I think about it. I got the privilege to be there yesterday when he got the news. Mom's going to be moving in with Sis till the house sells. Dad's going to the care center next week, and movers will be clearing the place out, starting pretty much now. He has a month. The eviction process is already rolling. The non-emergency line already knows that his temperamental and violent behind has been served and is ready to respond if he does something stupid. Oh, and our firefighter neighbor will be over in only a few minutes if he needs his ass put in gear on short notice. It was wonderful. His meltdown was legendary. He actually stomped his feet and screamed that it's not fair, said he was going to sue us all, screamed in an elderly man's face saying he wants to kick his ass. He demanded to know what we were going to do to help him find a place to live, how much money we were going to give him to make sure he didn't end up on the streets, asked what he's supposed to do about the fact he was saving his money to buy a new graphics card. He somehow still does not understand exactly what he is now facing. He's now not talking to Mom or Dad. He's locked himself in his room since last night and only comes out to use the restroom and take food from the pantry that will not be filling itself anymore. It's great as my brother is staying there and working remotely to make sure he does not try anything, and to update me and my sister on the man baby's tantrum. I'm looking forward to the next month. It will be the best reality television I've seen in a while. Quick update. The man baby has not gotten violent, luckily. He has made everyone's life a living hell, however. He says he's found a place to live though and says he'll be out by the end of the month. Story 2. Hello again everyone. I never expected my last post to get popular, but it was a pleasant surprise. Anyways, here's the update. So, after where my original post left off, not much happened at first. The man baby sulked and gave my parents the silent treatment until both of them moved out of the house. He had a bit of a tantrum when he realized that my brother would not be buying groceries for him and he would, gasp, have to spend his computer fund to feed himself. After Mom moved out, I think that's when it hit him that this was happening, and no amount of sulking and bitching would stop the eviction date from coming any closer. He had a massive tantrum a few nights after Mom moved out. He blew up the family group chat demanding we help him find a place to live and give him money for a deposit. I responded with a gif of a laughing cat and my sister blocked his number. He and our brother got into a fight, but like I always thought, he was too cowardly to actually do anything. So he sulked to his room, skipping every little petty and childish thing he did over the month. He in the end did find a place to actually live. He started to do Uber to make some cash while he claims to look for a job. We'll see how that turns out. Anyway, from what I understand, he knows someone locally that he plays video games with, and the guy hooked him up with a cheap place to live. And when I say cheap, I mean cheap. I ended up offering to help the man's baby move to his new place, and got a first-hand look at the crack house he's now living at. He's living in a room above the garage in a 3-bedroom, rundown crack house straight out of Compton. The place has fiber internet though, which was the must-have feature for my brother. Apparently, I didn't get a single thanks for helping him move, and he demanded I buy him lunch afterward. I left him hungry. Anyways, we'll see how long this lasts, as the man baby still seems to insist on not getting an actual job, and thinks if he begs me and my family for money he'll get by. He apparently has already nearly depleted his graphics car fund and is blowing my mom up asking for $1,000, so it seems to be going well for him. He did ask me for money when I was helping him move, and I told him that McDonald's is always hiring. He scoffed and told me he was too good for that. I guess we'll see how long that lasts. Anyways, the man baby has left the building. Story 3. I've been in a relationship with my partner Ed for 10 years. Ed is an only child and has very little family, so he is extremely close to his parents, especially his mom, Louise. My relationship with Louise is civil, but I've always felt uncomfortable around her. She'll often comment on my looks. These comments are unprompted and aren't nice. She'll say things like, "You don't try to pretty yourself up with makeup," or "Why don't you do something nice with your hair?" I often end up feeling icky after leaving Ed's parents' home, and Ed has noticed this, but he'll often say that her comments aren't meant to be mean, and he doesn't try to see things from my POV. He's said things like, "My mom says things about your hair, because you have straight hair and she knows you could do so much with it, and she has curly hair and can't style it however she wants like you could." I don't want to go with him to his parents' home because it's so unpleasant. But I know how much his family means to him, so I suck it up. A few days ago, Ed and I were at his parents' home for supper. I had worked that day, but I tried to change my updo a bit by quickly putting my hair in a half ponytail on our way to his parents' home. Right before supper, Ed and Louise were on their porch when she said, "You would look so much nicer if you would cut your hair. Why do you have long hair if you won't do anything with it?" I just stood there, because I'm so used to hearing comments like this, and Ed also didn't say anything. Minutes later, I noticed that he was looking at my hair oddly, and he asked his mom, not me, "Why does her part look so weird?" talking about the part created by my half ponytail. And she said to him her part is not straight. She clearly didn't take the time to make a nice part when she put up her hair. And all of this was said while I was right beside them. I was between them, so there was no reason to not address me directly. My feelings were hurt by this point, and I'd had enough of this treatment from Louise, so I said, "Why are you guys so obsessed with my looks?" And I decided to leave. Later that day, Ed asked me why I left. I explained that I was sick of these types of comments from his mom and that I felt like he and his mom were mean to me. He said he didn't realize how, but I should make it up with his mom because she was now crying because I left abruptly. I said I didn't think I should apologize for how they acted, and he said I was making things worse. AITH for leaving right before supper and not apologizing. I don't think this should matter in the treatment I'm getting, but I work in a lab, so I'm not allowed to wear makeup and my hair needs to be tied up when I work. Also, Louise barely wears makeup and she never styles her hair, so I don't understand why she feels like she can criticize my looks. I always look presentable when I visit his parents. I wear nice clothes and I don't look unkempt. Story 4. Many people who commented on my original post said that my partner Ed should stand up for me, and even said that I should leave him because of how he treated me when we were over at his parents' home for supper, and also how he's treated me even before that incident. I told Ed he had one more chance to show me what I mean to him by not letting his mom treat me like crap ever again. We just so happened to have another supper at his parents' home this past Monday. As expected, Ed's mom said some rude comment about my hair, and, to my surprise, Ed 999 speak up. He said I like her hair no matter how it is. It's not really standing up for me, but it's definitely more than I expected from him and the most he's ever stood up to his mom to my knowledge. Ed's mom seemed very shocked and taken aback by his reply. She didn't speak to me for the rest of the evening, and she later said to Ed, "I think she referring to me looked so much nicer when she had short hair." I told her, "Why don't you just worry about your own hair?" And when Ed saw my face, he told his parents that we were leaving. I'm very glad he took me seriously. I told him that I didn't want to see his mom until the holidays, which he agreed to. So thank you all for your great advice. Story 5. Hey guys, I 29 male could use some advice here. I have been single since I was around 23. I have little to no desire to be in a relationship and don't have any plans on getting married or having a long-term GF. I like being alone, especially due to my job. This, however, has raised questions from friends and family about my love life, especially since my younger brother is married and has kids. This started in September when my best friend since middle school got married. I was his best man and he offered to set me up with one of his fiance's single friends. I had no interest in this and assured him I would have a date. Not wanting to add any more complications in life, I decided to hire an escort who we will call Angie, 27, female, purely to keep up social expectations. We came up with a backstory that she was a friend of mine from a car club that I'm a part of. Wedding weekend happens and overall it went great. I had fun. And from when we talked, Angie had fun too. The weird thing is, she still stayed in touch, mainly through text. The first instance was about 3 weeks after the wedding when she asked me what I was doing over the weekend. I told her I was going on a cruise, cars not a boat, with my car club, and she asked if she could come. I told her I wasn't looking to hire an escort for a car club event, but she insisted that it was free and that she wasn't working. Since then she calls me in the evenings to talk and has accompanied me on outings and events. During my job-mandated therapy sessions, I told my therapist about this and he said, Angie may like me romantically. Now I'm not insecure or anything, it's just that physically I am fit but am short at 5'7". That and I generally have a colder and more stoic personality towards people that aren't close to me. Angie, on the other hand, is taller than me, 5'6" but 5'9" in heels, is gorgeous and has a very bubbly personality, so I put the idea of her liking me to bed. So really what I'm confused about is why she keeps wanting to hang out for free. Don't get me wrong, Angie is a great woman to be around, but could this be a tactic used by escorts to keep men on the line? Or could she be in trouble? Any advice here would be great, guys. Story 6. Hey y'all. So first things first, I'd like to thank everyone's advice and kind words and those that DM'd me. I'd like to give a little more background and respond to some of the recurring comments I saw. 1. I'm not insecure about my height or looks. To the short dudes comment thread. Most couples I've seen, there has been a minimum 3 inches height difference between the guy and girl, so I thought this was the norm. I now realize that's dumb. 2. Lots of PPL asked why I'm robotic and if I had a bad previous relationship or if I'm aromantic. So it's not that I'm robotic, in general, due to my personality and a part of my past that I walked away from. MP. Cautious with new people and any sort of vulnerability from my side is a no-go. Talking about my feelings, showing sadness, etc. Aside from my best friend, I sometimes get sick if someone asks me to talk about it. Now I might be aromantic but not sure. I always hated dating and the whole dance you have to do to move things forward. I dated years ago BC, it was normal, but eventually decided I wasn't gonna live my life for anyone but me and left it. 3. I am not rich. Sure, I make decent money, but with the cost of living around here, MP much just middle class. 4. As for Angie, she started escorting during the pandemic since she got laid off from her waitress job. She did it to pay her way through nursing school. She stopped it back in December. I knew she left the service, but I at the time if she was still moonlighting independently, which she wasn't. She didn't sleep with her clients, but even if she did, I wouldn't see it as that much different from my hookups divided by one night stands. On to the update. So I read a lot of your comments about how Angie might like me, and I took the night to think about all our time spent together without thinking of her as an escort. In the end, I'm sure a lot of guys can relate. I had the realization of motherfucker, she was hinting the whole time. And what made me realize was that after around December and Jan we started doing more mundane activities. For example, I was taking my niece and nephew mini golfing and she wanted to come along for that. Or how every other Friday she would come over and we'd just get high weed and watch random movies and videos after getting the munchies. Or how for the past month or two she'd give me a peck on my cheek after we hung out. I thought she was just being nice. As for my feelings, I've never had a crush or romantic feelings for anyone, so I wasn't sure what it was even supposed to feel like. But what I am sure of is that I like having Angie around, and when she's not I kinda miss her egg. So Friday comes around and we're baked and watching Lion King. The movie gets to the part before the stampede that kills Mufasa and Angie just starts crying. I ask her if she's okay and she said that the coming scene always made her sad. Then she kinda just moved over and put her head on my shoulder. The scene gets over but she puts her blanket over me and stays there for the rest of the movie. Credits roll, and she doesn't move. I kinda had a fuck it just send it moment and lightly kissed her on the head. She kissed me and things kinda escalated from there. We had a long convo in the morning and she said that back at the wedding she genuinely had a good time and didn't feel like she was working, and that's why she asked to hang out again. As we started hanging out she started developing feelings since I kinda just treated her as I would anyone else. I didn't think this was a big deal, but for her it was, and a lot of things that I did that I saw as common courtesy, giving her my coat, helping her into my car, etc. were acts of kindness in her eyes, even though that's just how I was raised. When she started working as an escort, she lost the few friends she had, and any time she tried dating PPL would sexualize her when they found out what she did. So outside of her few escort friends she had no one. When she finished school in December and became a pediatric nurse, she started reevaluating her relationships since she was no longer an escort, and she felt that I was one of the few PPL that treated her kindly even as an escort. She wanted to continue seeing me. I was a bit confused by what she said next, but she said that she felt safe and calm with me, which I didn't really grasp but accepted. I told her that I liked her but due to my past and personality I might not be the kind of man she wants to be with, but she shot that down immediately and told me I was acting stupid. We decided that it really wouldn't make sense to start over and start dating since we've spent the past few months together and we kinda just picked up where we left off. So we pretty much became BF and GF that day. The past 2 weeks have been really good. While I'm still getting my bearings straight and processing my feelings, Angie has changed quite a bit. She's a lot more emotional and likes being held a lot. Like if I'm just laying on the couch, she'll walk in and yell huggies and lay on me. It's a bit different for me since any sort of intimacy outside of sex is completely foreign, but I do like it. She's also does a lot for me, like one time, she slept over and I had to throw on a suit for a meeting the next day. I wake up and go in for a shower, and when I come out, not only is my shirts ironed but she had a pot of coffee ready in a lunch bag made. Like who TF just does that. A few days ago I even met a few of her escort friends, and guys seriously, don't judge anyone for what they do. BC her friends were some of the nicest PPL I've met. While I used Reddit she turned to them for advice about me over the months and they were all nearly in tears when they heard about us finally getting together. I told my family and friends that I was dating Angie, and they all laughed since they thought we had been dating since before the wedding. So some of your guys' joke comments about her being my GF were right. So yay, things are great between Angie and I know I got some work to do to transition into a relationship, but I'm taking it one step at a time. Angie has been really patient and understanding through all of it, and even though she's told me she loves me, she told me to only say it back when I'm ready, and I mean it. But seriously, thanks for all of your guys' help with this. I doubt things would ended up like this if it wasn't for you guys.